My name is Spencer Russell, and because of TikTok, I'm reaching millions of families who want to teach their toddlers how to read. No one was doing what my son.
Sorry about that. All right, we are live. I had the sound on the actual stream that I had up, but welcome to my first Jets of Time restream, and also the first session for Camp Spekkio 2 is our new player learning program that we're putting on for our class of campers, and we will be showing off some different flag sets that have changed or are new since the last time that we ran a Camp Spekkio. We got a YouTube playlist if you want to check that out. But this week we're just going to be doing the new player flag set. So we went on to beta.ctjot.com, click generate seed, click to new player flags. That's what we're going to see here. And I would love to introduce our first counselor, Acid Crab. Why don't you introduce yourself, and what do you love most about Jets of Time?
Yeah, so I'm Acid Crab, used to be Cthulhu, and I love everything about Jets of Time. I've been playing it a long time, and so I love that there's a variety of different ways to play this game, and so I'm really excited about that. Seeing people learn new flag sets, showing the ropes to people to get them up and racing, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, excellent. So all of our campers have been assigned to cabins, and they have mentors for each cabin. Their first task is to pick a mascot for their cabin, which is like an NPC or a boss or an enemy in Chrono Trigger. So I'll be excited what our campers kind of decide are their mascots, and we have those mentors available, and they're really there to answer questions and help out in a variety of different ways. You know, that could be inviting them to hang out on a practice stream. It could be answering questions in the special cabin chats that we have together, and so much more. So they're really there to help out the campers, and so campers out there, be sure to ask them questions and don't feel like that you're bothering them. But with that, why don't we just go ahead and get into it? So if you're ready, I will count you down, and let's start playing some Jets of Time.
Absolutely, I'm ready when you are.
Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Oh, my timer didn't start, so I'm going to start that before I progress the screen here. All right, so we're going to start with two characters in most modes, Jets. You're going to start with two characters, and they are randomized. So it'll be interesting to see what all characters we get throughout the run. But we're going to start off with Chrono Robo, which could be all right. A few things. So one of the other things when you're generating a seed on the site that we were just talking about is there are some what's the word for it? The special flags where you can change like in-game settings. You can name your characters. Cosmetic flags. I've already set those, but if you didn't, the first thing you would normally do in a run is come in here and make sure all your settings are right. This is your battle speed, this first number here. That decides how quickly the ATBs go and the turns go. The bar underneath that, if I select it, is the battle message speed. That's like the text speed. You almost always want that to be 1. For this first number, it's up to you what you're comfortable with. I know when I first started, I played on 4 a lot. I've eventually worked myself down. And so the other thing that's important here is the save battle cursor. That is important because if you do play with save battle cursor on, then your X button, if it's a SNES controller, uh, will automatically select attack and like frame perfectly attack. So that is super useful and only available to you if you have this setting on. But play with what you're comfortable with. Um, Other than that, we have a couple things we can take a look at. We can see the first tech that both of our characters are going to be learning. For Chrono, we have Lightning 2. Robo, we have Area Bomb. Those are both pretty good AoEs. Lightning 2 is a little bit better. And so there's going to be a couple things I'm going to do at the start of most standard seeds. We're going to talk to this knight captain. This sets up the chef quest, and if you don't do that, then the chef won't send you to the bridge later. So that can be super frustrating. Then we're looking for some consumables. When I'm playing, I'm typically looking to get like 3 shelters, 2 revives, and then I usually click up 3 times, just get 31 mid tonics, and I do the same for ethers. Now that does not leave you enough money to get the snail stop item, which is something to be important because the snail stop item costs a little over 9,000 gold. And so if you spend too much on consumables and weapons and gear and things, you won't be able to buy that if it's super critical. With these characters, we're gonna do kind of a standard opening. We're not gonna do anything crazy. So we're gonna run in. We're gonna get our ethers. Actually, I'm gonna check snail stop first because if it's gate key or something that unlocks something really valuable, we will want to wait.
As Crab, if you'll hold
Oh,
up
it is
one
pending.
second here, I want to see if
Oh
I
yeah,
can get the stream to sync up better with our audio here. So let me pause for a second
yeah, absolutely.
and reload it here. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna have to oh, there we go. Okay. Can you unpause your timer for me real quick? I want to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of delay I'm getting here. Okay, I'm just gonna pull it straight from the we're just gonna do a thing real quick. We'll do a live restreaming. Sometimes you gotta do some things, you know. And today
Start
that
anything.
thing.
We're just working everything out. I appreciate everyone's patience.
I am a camper when it comes to doing this. Whoop, almost there.
Oh, clever.
'Cause I don't know how to fix that problem, but I could do it this way, and I think we should be fine. Okay. Oh, I'll need your
All
audio
right.
still. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So Snail Stop is Pendant. Pendant is super helpful because it gives us access to the future, which has a ton of high tier chests and a ton of like 3 key item dungeons there. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be going there right away with the party and gear I have currently. So I think I'm going to leave it for now, but I'm not going to spend my money like crazy either. I'm going to be pretty subtle with my money here. So next I run over here to West Cape. You can do these things in a variety of orders, whatever's comfortable to you. But there's a speed tab back here. You can also dump off Thomas Pop if you have it, and it'll unlock Giant Claw Dungeon. But we may see that later. We're going to come here to Chorus. Chorus has 2 important places in this time period for us right now. It's Chorus Inn is where this guy is. Now this guy is going to unlock a key item check at his house from his wife. So he says we can borrow his tools. Now, I think it's also important to point out that if we talk to this fella, he's another merchant. This is another chance to get ethers if you hadn't found them before. If you still haven't found ethers at this point, there's one other shop I want to show you, but we're gonna grab our key item or I will forget about it. Robo's Ribbon, not great for progression, but it does give us a chance to talk about a key item that you won't see in a lot of runs. It gives barrier plus 25% damage and speed plus 3, which is, I mean, if you're going to use Robo, that's pretty good. But yeah, so like we'll equip it, but it doesn't unlock progression of any kind. It doesn't unlock any other bonuses. It's just an accessory. So if you still haven't found ethers at this point, the next place I always check is the Middle Ages. There's a shop here that is really easy to forget about. So I just always point this out to new players because this market, you almost have no reason to come here. And like, look, this would have had everything we needed. I'll probably grab a stack of heals in case I need them later. But otherwise, we're not going to spend any more money. That way we can pick up Pendant in just a dungeon or two, hopefully. So we have a few things available to us right now. I think for most runners, the decision is going to be, do I want to do Cathedral or not? Cathedral unlocks some XP. It all, just like any little mini dungeon does, but it also unlocks a character in Guardia Castle. Now that character could be somebody really strong, or could be somebody really like critical for unlocking another key item check. We already have Robo, but Marl could be there. Either way, even if you're gonna skip Cathedral, you go in to get the bromide and get the character that's recruited here. Normally we would go in and do like some sort of grind fight before this. This is actually going to be kind of slow, except Robo's pretty beefed up from the Robo ribbon. So we're going to rely on that and hope. Okay. They can one cycle them, one of them. Yeah, I got a little thrown off, but normally we would do a grind fight. And actually, after this, I'm going to actually go out and show you that grind fight because I think it's too valuable to skip. I'm going to show you the couple options for grinds you have. Oof. Robo, shout out Robo taking 0 damage. So this is why you would do a grind fight before this fight. It's really slow. They do a status effect that is slowing. And so it's super time consuming. I'm gonna leave out here real quick and show you the grind fight. But I guess if we're gonna do that, we'll have our third character too, which will be kind of nice. Marl. All right. So there are a couple grind fights that people tend to do. You would do it before you go into Cathedral. One of them is Guardia Forest here, and I think it's a really good one to show. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So if we run in here, you don't want to walk in the middle of the dirt there, but we can walk over, we can grab this tab, and then we can activate the fight here. Now this is going to be, we're going to imagine we don't have any text for this, so we're just going to auto attack through it. And you should be able to take this fight down relatively quickly. It's not a ton of tech points, but it does unlock a tech for your characters usually, depending on the character. Once you are done there, you can leave out of the bottom of the forest here. And now we can fly up to the top and go in through here. Which then we can start this fight. Now we have access to a tech now, so I'm going to use that. Just one-shot this. And that's going to get us a second tech for a lot of the characters. Now that Magus doesn't learn techs for a very long time. He has a huge amount of tech points he has to learn before he gets his first. These characters all learn them pretty normally. So they're going to have pretty similar. Robo's going to take a little longer to learn that third tech. But this is a great start, really. Tech-wise, we have a pretty good spread. And then I think we can also come down here and find this Kilwalla. And that gives us another shelter. So that's kind of a nice little freebie, which makes this very valuable. So if you did that before the Nagaet fight, then that would give you, in this instance, we would have had Lightning 2 for it. We would have had Area Bomb for it. Nothing else would have been super important for the Nagaets, but yeah. Once we go in here, whether we're going to finish Cathedral or just come to the finish this front area, we're almost always going to come in and then go in this room on the left, this door here. This is the bromide room. So we're going to get 3 chests here, and red mail's pretty nice. And then we get the bromide. Now the bromide's pretty valuable because it can be traded for tabs later. Power, speed, and magic tabs later. Let's see. I think I'm actually just going to Ether Chrono and Lightning 2. So when you take the bromide, this fight starts. This fight is worth a decent amount. And then when you could, if you didn't want the character unlock, you could leave. I kind of want to see who that character is, because if it's Luca, that could be pretty useful. And I just want to show all of Cathedral anyway. So we're going to be kind of taking that mindset a little bit. So when it comes to this area, most of the chests aren't going to be anything special. So I don't go super out of the way for chests. You want to avoid the bats. Here, you just want to stay at the bottom. And then you can grab both of these. This guy, you just don't want to let him roll into you. And then we want to flip the switch here. Now, you only have to worry about the bats there. And then you have to worry about this guy when you run out. But once you get consistent at how you run through these rooms, you'll kind of hit the same cycle each time and everything will feel the same. And here, because I didn't ether out of battle, I'm going to have to ether in battle, which is slower. But it's only one ether, and we'll one-shot this, so... And then I'll definitely like heal up and ether up before Yakra. The item descriptions are something that's in the beta, which is what we're going to be using for our Spekkio runs. So we'll kind of share links on that, on how to do that and everything as we go along too. But it's pretty nice because it gives the item effects. Really nice for gear rando. Alright, so we're gonna run through here. If you don't activate that organ, this door won't be here, and we have all done it, so don't feel bad. So I'm not gonna waste a shelter here. I definitely want him to have all his MP. I probably just want everybody. I don't think I'm going to spend any tabs yet, because I'm not confident in who's staying in my team yet. So this is our first quote-unquote boss. This is Yakra. Yeah, this is not boss rando, so for this week's seed, it won't be boss rando as well. Yakra is just a big health sink. He's got like... He doesn't have that much health, but he doesn't do a ton of damage. You're almost always going to be able to take him down no problem. And all your techs are just terrible. Alright, we're going to lightning and ice tackle, because I think ice tackle will be pretty strong. So a lot of jets, especially in the early game, is figuring out what your most efficient techs are. In this case, that did so much more damage than Chrono that I'm not even going to waste Chrono. I'm not going to waste time by telling Chrono to do anything. I'm just going to wait for the other two to come up. I'm going to ice tackle, and I think that'll actually finish off the fight. Yeah. Yeah, just figuring out what your most effective way to take down a boss is most of this game. And it's more important, or maybe more difficult early on, because if you may not have like your typical end game nukes, like your really strong AoEs. But just figuring out, okay, well, if I don't have that, what is the best thing I can use for Yakra or whatever boss you're up against? So this is where we unlock our next character. You can only get this character by doing that little cathedral quest. Who will it be? It'll be a frog. I kind of like that ice tackle. And I don't think frog's going to be better than Chrono. But that could definitely change. Yeah, frog doesn't have great... I kind of like this team right now. Luminaire's on the way, which won't be super helpful. It's very expensive. And a lot of enemies resist light. So now we get to the point where we have a few different places we can go, and in different categories, the right thing to do will be different. Um, Give me just a second. I'm going to fix something here. All right. So, since I'm feeling a little bit more confident with this team and having Robo here, I think I am going to go ahead and use my power tabs so that I'll start getting usefulness out of them. And then I've got that magic and speed tab. I'll use the speed tab. I think I might for now I'm going to hold off on the magic tab. So here we have kind of our decision point. So we can we always want to save here if you're going to go and do the bridge. Because if the bridge item doesn't end up being useful, then we can reset out of it because it'll be too much time commitment. But if it's something valuable, then we'll go through with it. So we also get a free heal from the chef when we do that. That would be the first option we have for things we have open to us right now. The next thing we have open to us is in 1000 AD, behind Melchior's house. And we could do Hecarim Cave here. Hecarim Cave, if you got one or two good spells, like we'd be able to do Hecarim Cave pretty easy. But I think we're gonna do Bridge first. In this case, I don't think there's a good enough reason not to. Now, technically speaking, we also have another check available to us in 600, which is Denadoro Mountains. But Denadoro Mountains is one of those dungeons, while it's available from the start, by waiting one or two more dungeons before you go there, it makes that boss so much easier that I think it's just worth holding off on Denadoro in most cases. So in this instance, we are going to go to the chef quest. So again, we would save. We don't need to heal. We would go ahead and equip anything good you've found along the way, because it's going to make a pretty big difference at this point. Gonna get everybody somewhat equipped up here. Give her a magic ring. All right, so we go to the right side here, and it's going to take us down to the basement. And that's where the chef quest starts. So there's going to be a couple things I do here. I'm going to open this chest, and if you do it fast enough and from the side, then you can catch the chef while he's here too. And then you've got to click through all this dialogue before you can leave this room. You can mash A, it goes pretty slowly. You can walk in and out of this room to cut it. It looks better if you do it pretty fast, but you can save a little bit of time there. It's not a huge amount of time, but make sure you close that last dialogue box before you go upstairs, or you'll have to go back down and redo it because this won't trigger. That's how you'll know you didn't talk to him long enough. And so we get a ruby knife. A ruby knife could be valuable, and I think we could use the XP from doing this bridge anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed with bridge as though it was something super useful. Ruby knife is a piece of go mode, of Tyranno Lawyer go mode, but we would also need gate key to get there, and Dreamstone to be able to get into Tyranno Lair. Now this fight is pretty quick. You just need to attack Ozzy 3 times or hit with a hard enough AoE that it one-shots them. I'm going to try that. If your lightning can kill all the skeletons, then it'll also end the fight. You can do it with ice too as well if you've got enough damage, and usually you have enough if you've done Cathedral. Sometimes that's faster, sometimes it's not. I've got 2 relatively slow characters on my team, so I think using the fast character to AoE is faster. Hopefully I've got the MPE. There. Oh, I thought that I got that off before they got to attack. One of them snuck in. Yeah, that's a really good point. Skeletons absorb shadow, so you don't even have to worry about if laser spin is strong enough. Spoiler alert, laser spin is never strong enough. So now we get the Zombor fight. A lot of runners are going to have different ways they remember what Zombor can be hit by. I'll tell you, mine is fire burns up, so I think of like a fire on the ground needs something to burn up, so that's the legs. Water from the sky, and then lightning needs ground, so I think of that as like the legs are touching the ground, that's where the lightning would go. There's a million different ways to think of it, but find which way works for you. But you typically want to take out the top first. So we're going to go straight for the ice tackle. I think we'll 2-shot it with ice tackle. Oh, he got real mad about that. So if they don't like it, do it again. And then I'm going to start hitting with lightning. Lightning is an alright tech, but Chrono's magic stat isn't very good. You'll notice also Luminaire isn't typically super strong. It's never going to be as strong as like Flare or anything like that. Okay. We're going to be ethering Chrono. And then probably attacking physically with Robo. We'll switch to Robo Tackle and Robo. That's a good question. So in most cases, when I finish bridge, whether
So
I
what are
do
you
it or
thinking
not,
about for your next
um,
move here?
I'm typically looking at Hecarim Cave. I think Hecarim Cave is a really I mean, if you have one or two good AOE's, or even yeah, one or two good AOE's, or one good AOE and one good like single target spell, you can probably get through Hecarim Cave. Oh, we are gonna go turn in that bromide we talked about. So we do that at this residence here, and we want to talk to the dresser, talk to him, and then you don't have to talk to the thing again, but it happens a lot if you're too close to the dresser or if you're spamming A too fast. But then you get one of each tab. Now that's pretty nice. Yeah, so I pretty much go off the idea when I know that this is
So when
my
do you
final team, I'm
decide
going to use
when
my
you're going?
tabs. Or if they're impactful for a boss. Like sometimes you just have to use a tab because you need the stats. That's pretty rare. Um, but with this team, I feel pretty good. Marl could use the magic, but Robo also could use the magic because I mean, he'll get shock and he'll get heal beam. And heal beam benefits from magic stat more than damage typically does. So I'm probably going to give that magic tab to, or the magic tabs to Robo. They're pretty weak ones anyway. They're not going to make a huge difference. Um, Power tabs, I can kind of break them up between Robo and Chrono. I gave Robo a lot at the start, so I'm going to give a couple to Chrono, make sure he's doing good damage. And then the speed tabs, let's actually take a look real quick at our speeds because Robo's ribbon is helping him out a ton. So he's actually at 12 with Chrono. We'll probably give the third one to Marl but then I'm kind of marrying this team. But I think I am going to do that. I'm also going to go ahead and shelter, get all healed up. And then let's talk about the different options we have now. So I'm pretty sure we're going to go to Hecarim Cave, but we could go to Dinodoro. And with our current items, those are kind of our only options right now, other than buying the pendant and going to the future. I think I'm going to do Hecarim Cave because I really want to show how to get the key item there because I think it's a little easy for people to miss sometimes. Um, so I want to show that anyway, and the XP will just be worth it for me, I think. So I'm not really too scared of anything in here, so I'm not going to save before I go in. These first two hench are really weak. You can auto attack them down. The rest of the enemies in here, some of the enemies can only be hit by magic, but magic AoE will one-shot them all in pretty much every case. Other than maybe laser spin might not have enough. But even then, I think it usually will. Now, it is something to note. If you do only have single target magic, the pot, or the urn up in the top left, that's the one that can't be hurt by, or that can only be hurt by magic. The others can be physically damaged. So if you only had access to one, like single target spell, you can take out the urn and then punch the others down. I was slow on my inputs, so it let them get some attacks in. You get pretty good tech point amounts in here. I mean, 25 for what's a one-shot fight is pretty nice. Add on to that something that's a little bit complicated, but I'm going to kind of briefly explain it and then we'll move on. And I'm sure some of the other counselors will talk about it in more detail. But there is something in Chrono Trigger called tech doubling. Whenever you're a certain number of skill points away from learning a tech, um, if you hit that number, like let's say it's at 10 to learn re-raise here, then if we learn 14 tech points, it fills that up and we get the 10 we need, and then it gives us the 12 again. So it could give you can end up learning more than one tech. This is one of the areas of the game where it's very likely to happen because when you enter this area, you're usually coming in here at a pretty low level with not a lot of techs learned. Again, I'm not going to dwell on it. I don't want to get into the full numbers and everything, but there's some info out there on it, and some of the other counselors will explain it a little bit different. But just know tech doubling is good, and when characters are about to learn a tech, you want them to get a large amount of tech points if you can. So a few of these fights, like this roly-poly fight, it again can just be taken out by a screen clear. But the most important thing while you're coming through here is make sure you're watching your MP numbers. I played it pretty safe, and I played it pretty close there, but that was not intentional. I wasn't watching it as close as I should have been. But you want to make sure that you're taking time to ether out of battles when you need to, because otherwise it's way slower to do it in battle. These bats, I'm going to kind of check how quick I'm going to learn techs. And I could get some extra on Chrono, but I'm actually going to bat skip this. So this is an encounter that you can only trigger by moving left. So if we can get just far enough left to move down and use that ramp to go left instead of pushing left on the controller, then we can actually walk right past these bats. It is not hard. Real quick, there's a question in chat. Do you sometimes go out of your way to get double TP? Yes. Like right now, I'm probably going to take this Earn fight because I know it'll give me more than 12 tech points, and that'll give Chrono extra tech points before Hecarim. Hecarim, surprisingly, is not worth that many tech points. So I'm not going to use Luminaire because it's super slow. The biggest time that I go out of my way to get double tech points is against Rubbles, anywhere they're in the game. Giant's Claw. Yeah, tech doubling is also part of that opening grind we did. Had we done it. And then, so it can be very valuable, and it's super valuable early. So here we are going to shelter, unfortunately. But we've found a lot of free shelters along the way. So I always save before Hecarim because misclicks happen. So we're going to go into our hardest hitting spells. Wow, we learned Shock already too. This is like team magic a little bit. But I've got good physical options too. I'd like to get ice, or I'd like to get an AoE on Marl. So here we're just trying to hit with the hardest hitting damage we have on each character. Only magic damage is gonna work. Man, I wasn't thinking that she was gonna be super helpful. Oh, we've got Super Volt now too. That's kind of nice. I'm gonna try out Super Volt and see what it's doing. And somebody's health is getting real low. Robo. Yeah, there we go. That is one of my favorite early game dual techs. Super Volt is really nice. Alright, so you'll notice we did not get a key item there. And that can be surprising for people sometimes if they're new to the game or if you aren't using a guide or anything. And so you actually have to go to Luca's dad to get the key item. So you jump into the pool here, and it takes you over to the island, and then we go into Luca's house. Yeah, I saw those prism specs. I was gonna grab my key item first. Dreamstone. So now we have Dreamstone and Ruby Knife. We are a gate key away from Go mode. So that item we just got is super great because Prism Specs give plus 50% damage to all damage that that character does. So, Chrono, here's some Prism Specs for you. And they are very, very good because damage is very, very good. So now we have a couple other options. We have that pendant, which I am going to go purchase. And we also have Dinodoro Mountains. So I'm going to buy that pendant because I definitely want to go to the future. It is not impossible that the last piece of Go mode, our gate key, is on Dinodoro Mountains. But we could, I mean, we're definitely strong enough to take on Dinodoro Mountains. I think the future is going to be more likely to pay off. There's more key items there, and there's high tier loot there. So we are going to go do that. And I think Chrono is going to be our guy to send to prison. He's fast. He does good damage. I think he's going to be fine for this. So the pendant can be used here at Guardia Castle to turn yourself in and go through the prison and dragon tank scenes. That unlocks access to the future. It also, in most standard flag sets, is going to have early pendant charge on. So early pendant charge means once you get to the future, your pendant is charged up and able to unlock the sealed doors in the future. There's a lot of high tier loot in those sealed doors, and we'll run through how to get into all of those during this seed too. So there are 3 key item checks in the future. And so I just think it's more likely to be beneficial to us. So here you want to make a ruckus. That way they'll let you out. Unfortunately, they didn't take our gear. So I'm gonna bonk this guy, and then because remember very early on I mentioned that we used battle memory cursor. The reason is for sections like this, I'm able to just hold down my X button on my SNES controller, and it'll just automatically attack the first target. This skip is probably the most satisfying one when you're first starting off. But you can run right in the middle of them, and you just gotta kind of line up your sprite right. So here, again, I'm just holding down the X button, and it's going to attack as soon as it's available. And for some of these fights, it's pretty handy. So we're gonna have this guy. We can attack him like that, and if you do it before he turns, then you don't have to fight him, and you get a mid tonic. Now there's a guy in here. I think we'll go get him. Oh, in here is Fritz, and once free, Fritz will give us max ethers later in Truce Village for letting him out. So, or mid ethers, not max ethers, mid ethers. So, yeah, I want to grab this. Ooh, a Grain Dream. It's an auto rev. So here, come on, buddy, do your job. Yeah, like I said, once free, Fritz will give you ethers later. There we go. And then most of the loot here is not terribly great. So in a lot of categories, I think most runners skip all of the other rooms in this place. Yes, you do have to have Chrono to get the benefit. And there's our friends. Do I actually need to heal? I probably do. All right. So a couple things that are interesting about the Dragon Tank. So because of how early in the game you come here and fight the Dragon Tank, they don't expect you to have ice or shadow magic. So he has below average defenses to those. So you can kind of take advantage of that. We're gonna ice tackle its face off first. We want to take the face out first, but also I don't like we're not gonna have a super difficult time taking this guy down. I think the rest of them is vulnerable to lightning. So we're gonna try a super volt and hope I'm not wrong. Alright, there goes the face. And either this is gonna be a super bad waste of time, or we're all gonna learn something. Or both. Alright, that was fine. Alright, and we got haste on Marl. That's pretty alright. It's not gonna be something that comes up super often. So we gotta use this human bridge. And we are gonna grab these chests. Nope. And off to the future we go. So now we get the message that our pendant is charged. That means we can open these doors now. So let's see what we're gonna get. Hyper Ether, and Slasher. Yeah, so I'll kind of do a flyover here in just a second and show you kind of what checks we have available here. We'll do a quick flyover. I want to check this shop just to make sure they don't have anything crazy great that we have to have. And we may grab a couple stacks of mid-tonics since they've got them. If you activate this door and then this Enertron, you can heal while that door animation's playing for a little bit of it. It's just kind of funny looking, and it saves us a very minuscule amount of time. And then we're going to get a couple more chests. So we got the Sonic Arrow, which is pretty alright. There are a couple Enertrons. Like that Enertron's pretty safe, but here's the checks that we have available. We have this dome, Ares Dome. We also, directly south of that, we have the Sun Palace with the Son of Sun fight. And then our third check in the future is over here, and that is Genodome. You won't see most people flocking to go to Genodome. It's a long dungeon, even if you know the skips. It's got a pretty tough fight, or some pretty tough fights in it, even though the boss isn't that tough. We also have a few quest turn-in spots. This is where you start this the Death Peak Go mode. You can also kind of go through some of these areas and grab chests. There's a few like easy to get to chests that you can go to, but you'll kind of figure those out, and we'll show them off more as they come up. But in most cases, when I get to the future, I'm looking to do either Ares Dome or I'm looking to do Sun Palace. This team's somewhat fast. I think we'll go ahead and do Sun Palace, although we don't really have we have some fire protection on Robo too. So we could do Sun Palace. Let's save first, just in case it goes horribly, and make sure we haven't picked up any new tabs. Magic tab's not going to make a difference right now, so we will head on into Sun Palace. You could definitely go to Ares Dome as well if your team was slower or if you felt like you were really under-leveled. So, a couple things with this fight. You have to pick which flame is the correct one. There's no way to tell. It's just random. There are some RNG things you can do, but we're not going to really get into that today. But the biggest thing I want you to leave knowing today is that you cannot hit the right flame until this first shuffle. And if you remember that, you will save yourself a lot of heartache. Most runners I know have a set order that they attack the flames that just makes it easy muscle memory. Mine is I go attack right and then attack left if the right is wrong. So attack right, A, right, A, and then A, left, A, which was right. So now I know A, left, A will attack the right flame. If it wouldn't have been that, then I would have done right, right, and then left, left. Ooh, that hurts. That's probably going to be telling us to just go to Ares Dome. Let's find out. So we need to get 10 attacks off on the correct flame. Ooh, it shuffled. So if I guess right, it'll be alright, but otherwise, I may reset. So this is why this is a risky check, especially without fire protection. But we have fire protection, so Robo probably isn't going to go down. He's not going to... Oh, I did the wrong one. We're going to go ahead and reset. And we'll come back here with a little bit more levels. So that's why we saved. But yeah, so I think normally I would come to Eris anyway. Let's just go ahead and run there. Now there is a shop here. I don't typically save outside of this place because there's a save point in here, and I can do it after I've healed if I need to heal. Like let's say I did finish Son of Sun. I'm gonna grab a couple stacks of ethers. And then we're going to grab a save. So we're going to go ahead and head downstairs here. Now there's a couple benefits to coming down here in Airstone. The first is we'll get the XP for doing Guardian. We'll get a key item from Doan afterwards as we come back up. But we also will come by a sealed door, which we have unlocked. We have the charged pendant, so... Do not open the menu in this room, or you will get an extra fight. So just always keep in mind that if you open the menu in that screen, sometimes you'll get an extra fight. Super Volt should finish both bids. Super Volt is super nice. It's like my favorite dual tech to start with. Alright. Then we'll head into Ice Tackle, which I think will finish him. So, just like Dragon Tank, they don't expect you to have Ice or Shadow magic going into this fight. Other than Laser Spin. But I know for sure Ice, he has below average defense to Ice. So anytime I have access to it, it can make this fight a lot easier. Now Chrono's down, so he's not going to get the tech points or XP from that, which is unfortunate, but I don't think I'm going to reset it over it or anything. I got Uzi Punch on Robo, which is pretty nice. And then it tells us to chase this rat. So practice this room, you'll get better at it. We've all missed the rat, no matter what anybody tells you. L, R, and A to open that up. And there's a chest you can grab here. Now one thing that's really interesting is enemies can't typically start a fight by moving into you. You have to move into them. So in certain skips, you'll see players stop moving like I did to those rats, where they're bumping into me, but they can't start the fight. So there's a few skips in Magus's Castle that rely on that I don't think we're going to see today, but we are going to run over here and do this sealed door first. Get a power tab. There's some specs. It's pretty nice. All right. So now we come to the Easter egg room. In chat we have, is that a thing in vanilla Chrono Trigger talking about the enemies bumping into you? No, that is just how it's programmed. You can actually, sometimes you can make that if you get the movement right through the first area, you can single cycle all that. So now Doan's gonna give us our key item, and we're gonna hope it's a gate key or something else, because we could use XP anyway. A hero medal. I could have grabbed a free heal from the Intertron there as well, which probably would have been a pretty good idea. But I think what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna go back and do Dinodoro real quick. We've gained some XP, we've gained access to a few better techs. We got some loot, got another pair of prism specs. So we're gonna be skipping most of the chests on this place. This was maybe the most satisfying dungeon for me to learn, because none of the skips are terribly difficult, but you feel like you're running through this area when you get good at them. And there is a lot of time to be lost here with encounters. There's one gauntlet in particular that can take up to like a minute and a half if you have to take it. And it's all like the way to avoid it is to just not push one button on the controller. So we'll talk about that when we get up to it, but we're going to be running through this area, and I'll kind of explain any skips I'm doing. But this first encounter, I'm not really... I'm just going to Lightning 2. I think it'll one-shot him. Pretty sure it will. And then... we'll skip most of the rest. That one, you can also run from that fight. Sometimes I do. But with this team, I mean, we're pretty fast, and we do pretty quick damage, so there you just don't want to move down more than you have to run past him. This guy tries to jump down on you. Just go down slightly, and then you want to run through this area if you don't care about the chests, because you can avoid all of those fights by doing that. You can also run down here and grab this chest, and it still won't start this fight here. The chests here aren't terribly great, so I don't catch myself going out of my way for chests here. Here, I just move slightly up and move across. Here, you hug either wall. You can hug the right wall if you want the chest. This is the spot. If you push left, you will start the minute and a half gauntlet. So I tend to just go right up left. I don't think you actually have to push right. I think you can just go up. But the big thing is don't push left until you've gone some direction. Here, there's a couple different ways people will show you to skip this. I use these ramps. And so I do it just like that. And it's kind of the same trick we did on that skip earlier, where you're using the ledges to not push the button that starts the fight there. And there's some really good skip tutorials for these, so I'm not gonna get hung up on every single skip, but there's some really good skip tutorials out there from Moon Blizzard and a few other people. We'll grab our magic tab. A +1 magic tab probably isn't worth actually talking to him, but that's okay. We're just gonna grab a save. And a speed tab. That's another reason you might want to come to Dinodoro, is because speed tabs are nice. So here, you want to run down. We got this rock. It's not probably going to be terribly helpful, but we can grab this chest, and then we want to wait for 2 rocks to get thrown, and then run for the ladder. That'll get past the bird every time. And then we're gonna head into the Massa and Mune fight first. You know, I don't think this guy is gonna like Ice Tackle. It's just a guess. Pro tip, don't stay in your tech menu until the animation starts. Wait for the animation to start first. See, that worked pretty well. So now we go into the real boss fight. Now he has that counterattack phase that Chrono might be able to get us out of. It's Chrono's first listed tech. I think we're gonna go for Super Volt. And I should have hasted first if I was gonna haste. So I think I'm just gonna ice. So something kind of interesting about haste is the haste status doesn't happen until your next ATB. So if I had hasted Robo first, then used Super Volt, it would have been better. Yes, Chrono's second tech. It replaced Slash. So to get out of the counterattack, I can use Cyclone. And if you rolled life 2, yeah, your life, you're doomed. Oh, she's sleeping right now? In our moment of triumph? Okay, we're going to... I think Ice Tackle's gonna finish anyway. But... let's just be safe here. Any boss that has a counterattack, if you know the damage is enough to kill them, well, not any boss. There's a couple exceptions, but Massa and Mune, this fight, if you know you have enough damage, you can do it during the counterattack. Same with Heparin. Those are like the 2 biggest times it comes up. So as far as checks we have available to us, it'll depend if this is our gate key or not, which is our next like area unlock. We got Toma's Pop. Okay, so Toma's Pop, it unlocks Giant's Claw, which is a dungeon. It's got a pretty tanky boss at the end of it. But that could be a really good place for us to go if we don't want to go do Son of Sun again, or try Son of Sun again. But actually, I just had a thought about that. How many green dreams do I have? 2. Okay, we're gonna try Son of Sun real quick with green dreams. Yes, Hero's Medal also unlocks a check, which we'll just go grab now while we remember we have it. Thank you, Fitz. See, this is why you let him out. You let him out of the jail earlier, so he can remind me I have Heroes Medal. So this is the item check that we get for... Oh, it's jerky! Alright, first person to tell me in chat, should I go turn in the jerky? Do you want to see the jerky turn in? I'll let you decide if we should pick up the jerky. It's not worth it. Okay. So this is where we would turn it in, and then we'd warp forward to get some loot. And sometimes it can be very valuable. But yeah, I think we're gonna go do Son of Sun with our new strategy. That's true. It could be a rainbow. It could definitely be a rainbow. Let's do Sun Palace, and then we'll do it. And how hurt am I? Hurt enough to heal. Got it. I'm not gonna heal MP though. I don't think. No. If you have a couple pieces of fire protection, this can go pretty easy for you too. Right, and then left. This is just my method. Other people may find other things work for them. But I do right, then I do left. And a lot of times it's left. Alright, that's 2. Comes the first flare. Nice try. See, I think we'll get enough attacks this time. Yes, and I did note that the first time, but let's note it again since we're coming back here. So if you have to wait for that first shuffle, or you will always be wrong. I've definitely done that. I've hit all 4 before in that time with like really fast teams, and then it's like, oh man. I'm like, what? How is it none of you? And that's enough hits. I was reading chat and I lost track it in the 4, 5, or 6 range. But we got enough off there, I think. That was lucky. And now we just hope they don't flare before he dies. Sometimes you can get real unlucky and he'll use flare like pretty late into, like right before he fades. That can be real unfortunate. Just take the XP away from one of your party members. Alright, we got a clone. So that means we can go to Genodome, which we mentioned earlier, or we can go to Homa's or Giant's Claw. So I think we're gonna do Giant's Claw. And we will show off Jerky because we're here, and it's not that long. Let's show off Jerky. So you can turn in the Jerky to this woman here, and we just give it to her for free, and then that's gonna change the attitude in the future. Yeah, Giant's Claw is really attractive anyway. I like Giant's Claw. If you know you can beat the boss, Giant's Claw is a pretty fast, easy dungeon. Ooh, it is a slasher too. Y'all tried to make me leave a slasher too? Oh, and a speed tab? Alright. Alright, so Giant's Claw. We're gonna go dump Thomas Pop. And then probably buy some shelters while we're in 1000 AD. And then we'll equip that slasher before we forget. See you, Toma. Get our prism specs hooked back up too. Okay, I feel pretty good about my loadout right now. So this is Giant's Claw. And let's check tabs. Keep going magic on Robo, I think. And then Marl's real close to the speed we want her to be. I think that's fine. I was trying to get Chrono just a little bit more speed than he has. I just noticed we're low. We did not buy shelters. We'll buy shelters after this. So Giant's Claw, the biggest thing to remember in Giant's Claw is to run from this first fight because it's terrible. Let's grab the other one. We're not in a big hurry. Full ethers are nice. So this first fight here can be pretty brutal, especially if you're forced to come here early or you decide to because you have great techs. When you run in this game, you hold L and R, and then you can open the tech menu, and it'll continue filling the run meter so that when you close it, the enemies haven't gotten to act. So that's another reason that we play on wait, as well as it just being a lot safer. But I did want to just make sure to mention it at that point, especially, because that's one of the really important ones to run from. Power tab. And sunshades that unfortunately won't get used. Because we've got Prism and Hero, or Robo Ribbon. Black Rock. The rocks, while they are shuffled amongst each other, but they are not shuffled with other items, so the rocks are always in the same 5 locations, but you just don't know which one you're gonna get. This one, stay pretty close to the wall. Go around the poles here. And your decisions in each of these branching rooms, your decisions are going to be kind of the opposite they were in Reptite Lair, if you've done Reptite Lair. So you'll kind of find your own way to memorize those. I like that Heal Beam's coming up, and I like that Confuse is coming up. Confuse is probably worth grabbing these for if my characters hit relatively quickly. Otherwise, I probably wasn't going to fight these. And if this first one goes really badly, maybe I won't fight the second one. If you're in a bind or you're here super early or something, you really need these tech points and experience before or like for this fight, you can equip like hit items to give yourself a pretty noticeable increase. But also just making sure you have the best gear equipped. And that does get us a little bit of tech doubling on Chrono. It's not going to make a huge difference, but look how fast we're learning our next tech already. That's because we got some amount of free tech points there. There is a tab up these stairs. Definitely grabbing that, because these power tabs are great, and we just learned Confuse. And got a decent, good weapon for Chrono. I don't want to use that here, and I also don't think I haven't really taken any damage. And we'll drop a safety save. Now, everyone, I'd like you to meet Rusty. Rusty is an old friend of mine. And he lives down in this cave all by himself, and we come down here to beat him up for some reason. I think I'm gonna ice tackle. Fuse. How much damage is Ice Tackle doing? 1300's pretty decent. This guy, you just hope that you can beat him in the time you've got. I also could have started with a Super Volt and then maybe done haste on Robo or something like that, but I think this is gonna work out okay. There he goes. So this key item check, other than Genodome, these were our two options. So we may still end up going to Genodome. Or this could be our gate key. Or we could end up with the other go mode, I guess. Prism Shard. So Prism Shard is... Yeah, Factory to Woe is open, and I do love Mount Woe. But this is early magic access, or early magic flag, or unlocked magic flag. So I think I'll leave that demonstration to that week, because you won't have to go through factory. I don't think. Well, we're gonna turn in Prism Shard, because we've got everything, including Marl, to turn it in. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it in here to the king. All right. So here we want to save because we can reset out of this. What would we reset out for? A Masamune piece, probably, I would reset out of. Though for this demonstration, we may just play through it. But so in the beta of Jets of Time, which is what we're going to be running the camp seeds through, this is a peekable check. That means we can go to the basement here first, and we can find out what our item is before we go and start the rest of the quest. So we're going to run through here, stopping at random intervals to avoid monsters. And then we're going to see what it is. It is a sword piece. But there's a lot of pretty good loot here, too. Let's make sure there's nothing... Actually, we've got about the best loot we could ask for. I think we will... Yes, Marl is required for the drop-off as well as the quest itself. We're gonna go ahead and reset out of that because I think you would in that situation reset out. So instead of doing that, we could do Factory to Woe, or we could do Genodome. We've got really good single target damage. We may just go to Genodome here. Yeah, no Moonstone, no knowledge of other sword piece. I'm pretty confident I would reset out. That's what we're gonna do. But we will run through Geno. We've got the AoEs to get in without issue. Although we did need shelters. Is that gonna be a problem? Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. We're gonna run and grab shelters real quick. To the one that's guaranteed to have them at the fair. All right, Back to the Future. So to get into Genodome, you need some decently strong AoE to get through this section. But even if you can one-shot everything in this section, the enemies inside are tougher. But we are pretty strong at this point. We've got great gear. We've got access to pretty strong techs. So I'm not too worried about it. And we're gonna do this dungeon pretty standard. If that'll just one-shot it. Perfect. So we're not gonna do like the crazy skips or anything in here, because I think it's gonna be important that you know how to do it regular if you have to. Some people use this conveyor as like a grind in some situations. If you're not quite ready to head into Death's Peak or something like that, and you need to just get a little bit or unlock one more tech to have a good single target or something, you can come here and do this. Though I don't think that's as common as it used to be. Alright, so we are going to get into this fight here, and I was going to say we're going to need Luminaire, but I did not leave Chrono enough to Luminaire. These enemies have a lot of health, and they can do pretty good damage. Like, they're pretty annoying to fight. Marl's going to take a quick nap. She's not even going to know that Chrono has Luminaire. I wasn't confident that was quite enough damage. Alright, so there's a couple sections of this that involve using these electricity locks. So we're gonna get everybody some MP here. And then we're gonna kind of set one of those up here. We want to do this one first because after some time, after you do this one, you a speed tab will appear. So we want to be able to go do the rest of the dungeon and then come back here in a little bit later and grab that. And when you do learn the Genodome conveyor skip and it becomes a much faster dungeon, this will still kind of come in handy because this is part of it, is setting this up. So like, I think it's like 30 seconds or some amount of time after you pick up that Kiwala doll is when the speed tab spawns in the same spot. Yeah, that was bad. I needed a Luminaire. So since we're just going down or going upstairs to do that area, we're just gonna go ahead and enter the elevator. We can heal here if we need to, but I think we're gonna be fine. So we're just gonna drop a save, and then I usually just grab this turret fight while I'm here. And that way it doesn't eat into my MP later when I'm going for the boss. That's unfortunate that we were slow. These guys can wipe your party if you don't get your inputs in quick. These guys can wipe a pretty good party. Especially in some of the fights where there's more than 2 of them. If more than a couple of them outspeed you, it starts hurting bad. Alright. So we got a tab there in the corner. Another great power tab. And then we're going to have a quick enemy encounter in here. So this brings us to this other elevator. It'll bring us down at the top of this area. Now we don't need to go down right now. We can just run straight off to the right here. And we will flip the conveyor. And if you come down here first, then you actually get an extra encounter. Oh, that's real unfortunate what we did to ourselves here. See, this is where you get into trouble, is they start shooting each other, and then they explode like that. Like, that's a lot of damage. There we go. So that's why you gotta keep yourself ethered up. So now that we've switched the conveyor, it buys us a lot more time to run with the electricity to here, and we can go ahead and open that door. I'm not too worried about that guy there. We're just gonna come. I'm gonna do a couple things here. We're gonna come up here and grab our speed tab that's here now. And then we're going to grab the electricity and take it up to that door we were just at. And so, as you get better and better, you'll find that there are ways to skip reversing that conveyor. It is learnable. It is something that you can practice, but I just don't think it's something I've wanted to bring up this first week as far as like showing how to do it. So I want everybody to know how to do it the basic way, and that way, no matter what situation, you'll be able to get through this. So I left him kind of up at the conveyor here, because he'll walk over those nubs. And then I can bring him over here. And then we don't have to bring him past that other enemy. Now, remember earlier we talked about not playing the organ? Well, sometimes you forget to take out the enemy that's standing here, and then you have to redo this whole thing. So always remember, clear out the area you're going to be walking him. It'll save you a lot of trouble. There are some treasure chests and things in this dungeon that you can go out of your way for. We are doing pretty great on gear right now, so it wasn't something I was gonna pursue right now. All right. Come on. There we go. So there is a chest and a tab in here, which is actually 2 tabs apparently. Then we're gonna grab this fight in the next one, and then just kind of heal up with what we have. Oh, we're a little too slow still. There's an area down below you can go for a couple chests, and a little cutscene, but we're not gonna go down there today. I don't think it's usually worth the payoff. That's how those fights should look, with good inputs and full MP. So real quick, I'm gonna heal everybody up. I'm not really worried about losing this fight, but you could definitely go back and save if you wanted to, or if you were worried, or if you're not familiar with this boss. It could be a good idea. But otherwise, I think we're gonna almost one-shot her. Not quite one-shot her. So. The big thing with this boss is you don't want to destroy all the screens, or it's unfortunate, because she starts hitting with attacks that just do increasing amounts of damage until you can't survive it. But we are going to head right into Ice Tackle. And a Cyclone so that we can take out one of the screens. I was hoping my Cyclone would go off before it got its turn. Oh, that's unfortunate. Robo might go destroy that third screen now. Alright, well, we prepared for this. Remember when we bought that stack of heals? It's because you never know when you're going to need them. And we'll be right here. I think this will finish. Stop healing. Ooh, a Mega Elixir drop though. Super nice. What is she gonna give us? The gate key. Okay. Well, the gate key is also going to unlock Woe, but I don't think we're going to go to Woe now. We have a go mode that we're pretty well prepared for, I think. Woe mode? If only. Yeah, I think we take the go mode we got. If we had gone factory to Mount Woe, I wonder if that would have gotten us the other go mode. Or another sword piece. I would just hate to go all the way to the top of Woe and then find out that it was a sword piece I don't plan on using. So on this section here, it's faster to go back up and into the portal than it is, or into the gate, than it is to run down and out into prehistory. So what I mean by that is, rather than going down fighting dinosaurs and Kilwalas and stuff, you can run this way, go back from the gate you came from, and then fly in your epoch, and it's faster. The question is, do we check out Reptite Lair to see if it has the other go mode? I don't think we do, but we could. So let's talk about prehistory for a second here. There's a few things we can do in prehistory. This is Dactyl Nest. It has a character waiting at the top of it. You can do that character as soon as you get the gate key. All the encounters there are runnable as long as you've got a decently fast team. Another thing is Laruba Ruins here. You can come here for 2 reasons. You can rename your characters. And then once you're done with that, then he gives you a triple tech rock, a random one. So yeah, we have everything for go mode. This would be the other thing we can do in prehistory, is we could go through Reptite Lair. That's a key item check with Nizbal at the end of it. But we've got everything we need. We're at a reasonable level, and we've shown quite a bit of stuff in the run so far. Let's go ahead and just keep things moving, and we'll head into Lavos Go mode here. So Tyranno Lair requires the Dreamstone for that gate to open. And to turn it in, you come to the right side here. We're going to be taking most of these fights with Lightning 2, because I know Lightning 2 will finish it. Chrono's really fast this seed. Though I'm going to give him one more speed. Oh, Lightning 2 didn't finish him. That's annoying. Okay, so we will have to Luminaire, perhaps. But I want to take these fights because it's not that much faster to run from them if you one-shot them, which we're going to start doing now. So we're going to switch to Luminaire. Some of these areas are going to look pretty familiar to the eagle-eyed viewers because we were in this place earlier in a different time. So that's where we turned in the Dreamstone. So that gives us access to the rest of this dungeon. Now it is important to note, even if you have the Dreamstone and the gate key, you won't be able to go start like the Lavos final dungeon in Zeal. You won't be able to start that without the ruby knife. And so here we're going to go left because it's the opposite of Giant's Claw. We're going to hug the top wall here. There are a couple different ways to go through this room. I'm going to show you the really basic fast route, which is going to be pretty much as soon as I enter the room, I'm going to hold up and left. And I'm going to run up, grab this chest, and get out. Now, this room has like a bunch of spots that like teleports you all over the place. And so that's why, like, if you learn those teleporting routes, you can grab all the chests in this room, and they are high tier loot. So there are some really good video tutorials for that. But do what you think is right, and if you think you need the gear, also matters. Here, I try to line up on these bricks, on the 2 stack of bricks there, and I run directly to the right, and then up into the doorway. Here, it is the right button that won't spawn enemies, and we can unlock the door up ahead. So same kind of thing. We're going to try to find that same row of bricks there. This skip, I'm not super consistent at, but there'll be some good information. But you can use this to kind of set yourself up. And then if you spam A, sometimes it'll get you in. I know there are setups where you don't have to rely on spamming A, lagging the game out a little bit. But that's definitely what got me in there, it felt like. And so we need Etherd, and we've got the shelters. So we're just going to use the shelters, use our tabs while we're here. I actually do want Chrono to be just a hair faster than he is. There we go. So grab a quick save, and then as we leave the room, Nizbol will start the fight with us here. Now this Nizbol works a little bit different than Nizbol 1. This one you don't really have to worry about. It's not as important that you hit him with lightning, as long as you've got spells to hit him with. We're going to use shock and lightning too. And then ice. Now this fight can be quite a challenge if you don't have good spells for it. And you have to rely on, like, using lightning to eventually lower his defense. That can be pretty rough. But those are all things to keep in mind when deciding. Like, just because you have a go mode doesn't mean you necessarily have to immediately run for it, because sometimes it's worth taking a grind somewhere, or learning another tech, or buying some gear. Just always keep that in mind, because if you go to a boss that you're banging your head against, and you end up not being able to get past that boss, it's going to lose you a lot more time than going and grinding for a couple minutes would have. Oh, there's laser spin. So here, you have to kind of make a V, and I use the sections of the floor to know where to make that V. So it's really hard for me to explain it. But it's really hard to explain it, but just take a look at how I moved through there, and there's some good tutorials. And then for the second spot, I think you can just hug the top. Oh, nope, it was the bottom. This is not a dungeon I do as often as some of the other ones, because it doesn't exist in my main category. Alright. And then up into this door. And then this one is tricky. You want to hit the middle dot. Open that, and then go ahead and filter before this next boss that can be quite a challenge. I think we're pretty well leveled for it. I am going to double check my gear real quick. I want to have different elemental protections because we don't know what element he has quite yet. Kaiser arm will be nice. Robo Ribbon for sure. That seems pretty good. Alright. I always kind of walk back up and walk down because I've had it where those buttons get hit by bad movement because my characters aren't lined up well. So I always just take the extra time there. And then this one you just use that alcove, move directly down, and then just straight up. It'll take you in there where you need to be. And skip the fights. So in this Black Tyranno fight, we want to take out Azala, and then that's going to put us on our timer and also lower his defense. Now, he has a random amount of HP. Somebody in chat might be able to give specific numbers on that, but I just know that it tends to be, it feels like somewhere between 6K and 12K, but somebody may know the actual numbers. So I'm gonna have Marl haste herself. I'm actually kind of glad that didn't one-shot Azala, because that gives me time to haste everybody before I do. So this boss can be a huge hurdle, especially when you're new or if you get here really early. This guy can be a real problem. You want to wait for his defense to go down, and then you want to blast him with all of your strongest spells, or not just spells, but just your strongest techs. Ice Tackle should help us out quite a bit here. Yeah, 17's pretty good. I'll take that. Chrono's getting pretty low MP, but they're all hasted now. So I can like waste Chrono's turn to give himself MP. I'm doing enough damage where I'm not like super scared about it either. I'm just going to mid-ether Chrono and then try to take him down before the spell goes off. But I think I'll survive one spell. I just don't know what element it's going to be yet. We're going for it. If I get another character up before his spell goes off, I'll try to use a Lapis, make sure everybody's topped off. But we finished it. Alright, that was pretty close. He almost got that off. That haste was really nice for that fight, because it let me make sure I was going to have enough turns. If anybody has any questions along the way, or feel free to ask. Don't be afraid of any of the mentors. You're not bothering anybody. You're not disturbing us. We like to hear questions. We like to help people learn. And now we are free to head towards Lavos, and we're gonna have a couple really killer shops to check out along the way. So I always find Mount Woe, and then I know up and to the right is the Skyway here. And that brings us to the magical kingdom of Zeal. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Get our triple Tetrock here. Just to show you how to get in there. It's that top left book first, then the bottom right, then the middle. Now there are two shops here. It doesn't look like it, but there are two shops here. There's Talking to the New from Above, which is going to have a pool of items. None of that's going to make me switch my gear, although I don't have status protection, and I might need it later. So I think I'm actually going to sell off a few things and make sure to buy that. Let's buy at least one amulet. We have a vigil hat too that I need to pull off somebody, I think. We've got 6 lapises, which feels like enough lapises, frankly. Maybe we grab 2 more. There's also, you can see it up in the top right here. There's a glimmering speed tab on the wall above the bookshelf. So we can actually go here and grab that speed tab. So we'll go ahead and grab that too, and we'll grab the free heal on the way out. So you usually will go there just to check out the 2 shops, talking to the new from both sides of the counter. This is Zeal Palace. We don't have to charge the pendant with our current flag set, so we don't have to do anything else before we just head straight up into the next area here. So everybody's healed up from our free heal, so I'm just gonna save. And we're going to enter the golem fight. Golem fight usually isn't too much trouble. It's a double golem fight that really will cause you problems. And we're going to confuse into ice tackle, I think. It's going to be pretty solid damage. Now, we don't have any great stackable elemental resistance or absorption, so like we don't have protection against an element that we're really good with right now. Which makes this fight a little bit... it's going to make twin golems a little bit trickier, so we're going to hope we pull something or come up with a really good strategy here. There's a couple things for twin golems that work. Single golem usually isn't too bad because he just doesn't last long enough to be a real problem by the time you're here. Hyper Ether is super nice. So we're gonna head into the Ocean Palace now. I think there's a few different ways people route the Ocean Palace. I'm gonna show you the way I've always done that I think works relatively well. And then there are always things you can learn from watching other runners as well. We all have things we do slightly different, or... Oh, we have great +4 power tabs, is what Chrono's doing. I think... give Chrono that speed. Alright. So, this is the route I've always gone through the Ocean Palace. I go straight into this door to the right, push the button, fight the djinns. You want to kill the gray one first. Not sure how much damage. Yeah, I was going to say it might take 2 hits. And then this is going to dispel the shield. But that's okay, because that means somebody with real damage can actually finish it. Ooh, another power tab. So then I go out this right door and through this left door. And that brings me right here to grab this chest. And I can get to this next important door. There's a chest here that you can grab from this side as well. And then I'm actually going to throw those tabs on real quick, because we were a little short on damage for the djinns. It'll be a minute before we have to fight another djinn, but I just want to make sure I'm good. So always watch out. These guys will try to get you when you're leaving this room. So welcome to the grind room, everybody. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I am going to grind a couple levels to show you how and to just gain a little bit of security. So we're gonna, okay, I'm gonna try, oh, I see, 10 seconds behind, bet. So we're gonna finish off this grind fight with a big AoE clear. And then we're going to head up and down the stairs to re-trigger that fight, as you see here. But this is a repeatable, grindable fight that is a good source of tech points and XP. It's 80 tech points, so we can check and see. I mean, Ice 2 would be nice. We're not probably gonna grind that long. I'd like to grab level 32 just for some security. We've got great gear, but we don't have a lot of protection. But I want to help people learn. I mean, ever since we joined, or I started in this community, one of the things that's been important to me is making it easier and easier for people to get into this game that means so much to me at this point. And so I learned early on that it was a hard game to learn with a lot of ins and outs, and that's why I made guides to help new people, and I made video and stuff like that. And I'm not super active racing, but I still will post tutorial videos that are short little things on how to use Emo Tracker, stuff like that I wish was there when I joined. And so I appreciate everyone coming and hanging out and being supportive of this community that means so much to me. And I hope you stay, and I hope you have a good time. We've had a lot of good people come through here. Alright, what level are we? We're 30. I think I am gonna go for 32. Like, I'll never forget when I first started, I beat Zeal and the run didn't end, and somebody said in chat, like, well, how come you didn't have the Zeal final boss flag? And I was like, well, I didn't want to have to fight Zeal every time. And so I like how much more accessible the info is now. Yeah, 32 is a real safe number. I think it's going to be about one more of those grind fights. Yeah, I'm a pretty cautious player when it comes to Lavos. Lavos can make really, really talented runners look bad. Like, I've seen it where, like, some of the best are fighting Lavos and something goes wrong and sometimes you can't save it. So, I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, wow, okay. That's an RNG minute. No. Sorry, I should have delayed that. I'm usually pretty good at that staircase. Well, and there's a big difference between fighting Lavos with great gear and protection and fighting Lavos with like trash. Oh, I didn't I didn't set anything up for us to get through elevator easy, did I? So there's a section up ahead called we used to call it lift, um, and it has scouters of different colors, and they can be problematic because they you have to hit them with the element that they're the same color as, and so you can usually get around it with Ayla or Frog using Frog Squash or Dino Tail. I don't have either of those, and I don't think Frog did either. If Frog already knew it, I would throw him in, but he doesn't. So we're gonna have to do this safe and with some physical damage, so I'm just gonna make sure that we heal up here. Oh, Max Cyclone, huh? I do have Max Cyclone. Where do I need Robo to be for Max Cyclone? Oh no! Well, that's unfortunate is what that is. Hey, you all know or a lot of you know my gambit already. It never works, but I sure want it to one of these days. That's Cthulhu Gambit. Oh, this is good. We figured out that this wasn't gonna work. So I'll probably switch him into a different spot in hopes that it will, let me at least hit 2 of them at once. We'll see how that works. Oh, okay. Okay. We're at least gonna make sure we're healthy and man it up, because alright, let's do it. Where are you? Alright, that went good. Max Cyclone. You know that feeling when you have like a new toy and you just want to try it out. You just want to try out Max Cyclone a little more. Oh yeah, that Scouter's gonna be mad. Hey, that's pretty great, actually. I'll take that. Oh, I want to let that animation start before I start looking around for Ice 1. See, I'll take that. That's a lot faster than my old way of, let's hit them with a stick slowly. Which is what the rest of this one's gonna be, I think. The next thing after this lift is we're gonna have the, we're gonna get to show you Scouter skips, which will take some practice, but you guys can all get them down. I know you can. And it does save a little bit of time. But somebody that used to be in the community a lot, they always used to say, knowing how to skip the encounters is great. Knowing when to skip the encounters is harder. Like knowing when to take extra fights, knowing when 4 seconds isn't worth the 20 tech points you're giving up. But so for this, I'm gonna kind of walk to the edge of the carpet. I'm gonna move up, hit the switch. I'm gonna walk down, and then once they start spreading out, I'm immediately like running to the right into the wall and down and out. It's kind of tricky. There's some tutorial videos for it. Look that up. But if you can leave the room before they've fully started the fight, then you don't have to do either of those. So we're gonna get one more chest and a save point here. There's our Mega Elixir again. That's gonna make this a little bit safer, of course. Get our boy Chrono doing some damage. And I want to double check now if we have any additional protection we can apply for this fight. And I don't think I can get the same protection on 2 characters right now. So unfortunately, we kind of just have to hope we're strong enough for Twin Golems and be a little cautious about healing. And the biggest thing with Twin Golems is like making sure you don't kill them at the same time. Ooh, I did not heal. We're gonna make that work anyway. So they counterattack with whatever element you hit them with, including physical, and their physical like cuts your HP in half and can be really annoying. Actually gonna do that. And then when Marl comes up, I'm gonna have her ice too. But then we need to switch to single target damage. Because we don't want them to die at the same time. Because, uh-oh. This is why we don't want them to die at the same time. Holding my breath. That's why you don't want them to die at the same time. So, all we need to do is do that slightly different. So, that's why we don't want to hit them like that. This time, we're going to go in, and I think I'm just... Oh, I should have healed since I knew... Oh, no, I am healed this time. So that'll make a huge difference. But what we actually want to do here is I actually want to ice tackle the left one. And yeah, let's do that. Well, and you know, this boss used to be a really big hurdle for a lot of runners. I think knowledge has spread really well for it, where like we know what we're doing more, and we've got more strategies we can employ. But it still can be a hurdle if you don't run into the protections. But like the best case scenario for this would have been that we run into a bunch of light protection. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Where's life 2? That's really unfortunate. But we would have had protection against lightning, and then we would have used shock and luminaire, knowing that they weren't going to get hurt too bad by it. Alright, we're going to go... So we're just playing this a little bit safe, get through it. Gonna res up. Then we're gonna Lapis. That should get everybody where they're not gonna get one shot, except for Marl, who's getting hit for holy stuff. We need to just hit them with something to get them off of that spell. We need an elixir for Chrono. Yeah, you don't want the physical. You don't want lightning either, because lightning's super slow. But right now, I'd rather have lightning. I mean, it's slow because it does it so fast. Like, I know that sounds so dumb. It's slow because they do the animation so frequently. But we want to get... Oh, we're in trouble. Marl can't survive a lot of those. Okay. Taking a second to think here. Yeah, twin golems. Yeah, lifeline could be a way out. Lifeline could be a way out. Well, at this point we're in a heal loop, so we're gonna reset. Yeah, no, I'm actually kind of glad that this is happening, because it's not difficult for this to happen with this particular boss. I think a lifeline's a great idea. And then what we gotta do, or not, what I gotta do here is I'm gonna lifeline, I'm gonna keep everybody alive, Chrono's going to hit, and then Marl's gonna ice 2 behind him every time. That's gonna be the play. This is the safe way to handle this. We're gonna super volt into ice 2, don't kill him. Alright. Don't you do it. Don't you throw dodgeballs. Okay. Yeah, Lifeline did not help us a ton there. But we still might get out of it here, so... I need to ice 2 to get them on an easier to deal with element. And then I'm gonna wait for both party members, revive. Oh, you know what? Revive is silly. We should life 2 Robo. And I think we're gonna have to Mega. So I don't want to, but I think it's the play here if I want to push through this. Don't kill Marl. You're a jerk. Lightning Cycle was not helpful. Yeah. Yeah, they can't kill me in Lightning Cycle. Alright, get Ice 2 queued up on Marl. And then I'm actually going to hold off on using Chrono for a second. Or actually, I'm going to Ether Marl. I need to get an Ice Tackle off is part of the problem. Because I can't let them die at the same time again. Where is Ice Tackle? Oh, I'm on Chrono. Yeah, this is tough. You know what? We could also... Well, no, that's not going to be a good idea on Robo specifically. Oh man, we still didn't heal. Okay. We're healing, and then we're heading in, and we're going to see if that makes a difference here. The MP will make a difference. I thought I had healed this second time when I reloaded. I thought I was healed. Nah, we got this. Alright, we're going to start off with single target to get their HPs misaligned here. And then we're going to Ice 2 to get them out of that terrible cycle they're in. Vanilla spot for this boss. Alright, so that gets us in a pretty nice spot, right? Oh, this is going so much better. We've got this under control this time. He lied. We got this. This is under control. Oh yeah. Now, if you have fire and water, you can cycle them between the two, because each of those, the water cycle they do and the fire cycle they do, both start with a single target and then do a multi-target, and you can keep them doing only the single target if you're fast enough and things go right. But we pushed through it. That can be a tough boss. That shouldn't have been as hard as it was. But we got through it. This is one of the only save points that does not, or one of the only times in the game where it doesn't give you a save point before the next boss. So you do need to remember to go back here. So now we head into the Lavos boss gauntlet. That's going to take us through Lavos Shell, Lavos 2, and then into Lavos 3. Lavos Shell can be a problem. We don't have a ton of protection. And we don't know what protection we need yet. But we do need to start looking at that stuff pretty hard, because it's going to matter a ton from here on out. So gonna do as much damage as quickly as we can. Ice Sword 2 is an incredible tech. Let's do, let's go for Confuse. I don't want to like spam out Lapises, but I kind of want to spam out Lapises. Here's where we find out how bad Obstacle's gonna be and who I have protection on. Okay, it's pretty bad, but we've got heals. So it's totally workable. We can totally work with that. So, all in all, I mean that's a good one to have, because that means protection's not going to be super important because we have a stack of those. Okay, let's get Oozy Punch. I'm assuming Chrono could use an elixir about now. Nice. We took it out before the elixir use. That's great. Robo's Ribbon is good. Okay. That's what we're going to go with. We're also going to fully heal. And I'm actually going to slow my battle speed a couple, just to make it a little bit safer. I've got Prism Specs on 1, yeah. I think I... That's really not the worst, because I've got the stack of heals. We're gonna do Prism Specs on both. If we wipe, we'll change our mind. So we head up into Lavos 2. Lavos 2 is a pretty basic fight here. His head is going to be shielded until his arms are down. His arms are going to do way too much damage to be fair or nice. Yeah, I agree. I think when I started Fitz, I started on like 4 and 5, and even that, like, yeah, but don't feel bad. My thing is, don't feel bad for changing it in the middle. If you're having trouble with a boss, sometimes it can be the difference maker between wiping or being able to push through a difficult scenario. So just keep in mind, if you're wiping Delavos but you're almost finishing him, turn it down 1 or 2, or turn it rather up 1 or 2 so it's a little slower. Nice. It's huge. We want to have everybody pretty well healed for when the second arm goes down. So I'm going to cast the heal from our magicked up Robo. See what his heals are looking like anyway. Yeah, that's pretty decent. But this way, when this arm goes down, whether it's this attack or not, we're healed up before we get hit with the obstacle. Hey, take note that I'm using the heals on the people next in the ATB list, and the people that are going to be the most meaningful in this fight. Like, I'm okay with Marl taking a minute before she can cast a spell, because she's probably just going to be ethering for the other two. Yes. I took away his hands. I wasn't going to let him Braun Strowman me. He ain't getting these hands. But yeah, I'm trying to focus on making sure that the people that are going to be actively doing impressive things are ready to do those. Ooh, I actually feel a little stuck here. I don't want to use a full ether here because I don't think the fight's that much longer. But I just want to make sure. Ooh. I've got enough ethers. I started with 8 lapises. I'm probably down to 5. 4 or 5, which is still pretty decent. There he goes. Alright, this is the menu glitch. So what I do is I watch the area of the screen to the bottom right of Morrow. I watch that rock, and I wait for that rock to turn the same color as the outside of the emulator window. You're going to see this in a second. So I wait for that spot in the bottom right to be the exact same color as the outside of the emulator, and then I push and hold the X button for a second. And that is going to let me get in here and heal and ether up. Ooh, I'm a little lower on ethers than I meant to be, but this will be okay. And I don't think there's going to be any gear changes I'm going to want to do. So, we going. Yep, we got 2 megas. We're okay. Start off with a lifeline. Here we go. Let's hope we don't just immediately lose that. Oh no, my protection I didn't equip. Oh! Alright, we're gonna hit with, we're going, oh my goodness. We're doing center bit all day. That was so much damage. So there's a couple different ways to do this boss fight, and it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to explain while I'm playing. The left bit is weak to physical. Oh, Grandstone. We'll be okay. So the left bit is weak to physical. It's what it's what most people did in vanilla, but it's a lot riskier in Jets because you're a lot lower level with a lot less HP. So that's just something to keep in mind. Good. Oh no, not good. Oh, okay. Actually, I'm actually okay with that. I just really need that guy in the middle to be gone now, please. If you take out the guy in the middle, he's the one where all the scary attacks come from. So now, in just a moment, his defense will go down on the right bit, and then we can attack it. And from there on out, this fight kind of changes, because once the center bit comes back, we can hit with AoEs, and then we'll be able to hit the right bit but we want to ice sword this guy. This guy has about 20k health, and we're gonna be counting it. So that's 5. Oh, you know what? Full ether, Toronto. I mean, 5k damage is a lot. This is pretty nice. So that's 10. I don't even know if it's worth having Robo Uzi Punch. That's 11.5. We're actually gonna kind of ignore Center Bit right now, or shift to AoEs, but I think we're just gonna ignore him because he's one hit. Let's Mega Elixir to make sure everybody's got the MP they need for if this takes 2. Hey, don't do that to Robo. But I suspect this will be time here, because that should be a little over 20k because of Robo's attack. But so if one other thing I was keeping in mind during that fight was if protection had come back up, I would have went for left bit. I would have tried to hit the left bit down with Confuse and Uzi Punch, and then I would have transitioned that into lowering the defense. So take out the left bit on the tail end. But I think early on, I think it's safer to take out that center bit for most teams. Though really good physical damage teams can benefit from it. So I appreciate everyone coming and hanging out and watching us work through this seed. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff in that seed that it showed us that like are pretty common things to run into. So I think there's a lot to take away from there, but knowing your gear and how that's going to affect the bosses you're going into is huge, because sometimes the hard part is like when you finish one seed and you're really strong at the end. Like I was pretty strong at the end of that seed. The next seed I play, I might not be nearly as strong, but I might be playing like I'm that strong because and so just make sure you're looking at how your situation is for that seed, and learn from everything. Learn from every seed you play. And my last bit would be, if you get stuck on a boss and you have to quit a run, or you decide to quit a run, I always say try to finish the seed if you can, but I get stuff happens. Sometimes you're not in the mood to finish it anymore. but try to revisit that seed the next day, or with your mentor or something, because it could be something where it's a tactics thing, and just learning a different tactic makes all the difference. So there's a lot of good resources out there, and I hope everybody has a good time with it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.